Hello, it is Wendy with Thoughts of a Social Worker, and this is going to be part 3 of the 3-part series on stress. So remember, the first part was on being able to identify what stress is physically, mentally. Part 2 was being able to figure out what are your triggers. And now this third video is going to be on management of your stress. So, management. Let's think about that. What does that mean? Does it mean alleviating it? No, that's not realistic. Like we talked about in the first 2 videos, stress is something that we actually need because there's some positive things that happen with stress as well. But just like anything, we need it in moderation. And so management means just that, being able to take it from maybe a 10 down to maybe a 3. And again, it's going to be that roller coaster effect where some days are going to be more, some days are going to be less. Management. So some practical, realistic things that you can do to manage stress right now that's in your control. I always encourage my clients that are dealing with high anxiety, and stress are to be able to commit to one thing that they're willing to change. Just one thing. And that way you don't feel really overwhelmed. I had a client that she committed to changing her soda intake to water. And then that dominoed into a lot of lifestyle changes because she began to see the impact that that one change made. So, that's a really great way to begin. Also, some natural things that you can do right now that nobody even really knows that you're doing, like if you're at work or you're in your car driving, is to take some deep breaths. And those deep breaths do a couple things. First of all, when you take in oxygen, you fill your brain with oxygen, and that allows you to think more clearly. And it's very relaxing. Those are the 2 things, is that you get more oxygen to your brain to think more clearly, and it's relaxing. So breathing, also being able to do some positive reframing. So some examples would be, let me give you some examples from my own life right now. So right now, I am downsizing. I'm going from a home because my daughter still lives with me, and I am downsizing to something smaller. I am not finding anything that I like out there. So I reframed it from, man, I can't find anywhere to live, and reframe it to, maybe I need to change my energy level from that negative energy to that positive energy, and reframe it to maybe the timing is just off. I just haven't found what I'm supposed to find yet. Maybe when, your car breaks down, let's say your radiator cracks. It's been really cold, your radiator cracks, and reframe that to, yeah, you have to go get your radiator fixed. It's probably going to be about a $400 or $500 job, but reframe it to, well, you know what? At least it's something that's fixable. It's something that's manageable. I'm not broken down on the highway. I'm somewhere safe. I was able to get it to the mechanic, and reframe that negative into the positive things. Does it take away the negative? Absolutely not. But if you're able to retrain your brain to think from something that's really negative and retrain it to think it to something that's really positive, you naturally remove the incredible amount of stress that goes along with that. So breathing, reframing things. Last year I had to do a total revamping of my life. And one of those things included electronics detox, electronic management. I work with a lot of teenagers and even young adults that will say, well, I have to look at my social media and I'll go to sleep. Or I have to watch TV in order to go to sleep. And those things may be true to an extent, but that electronic interaction, the electronics, there's an electromagnetic connection and stimulation that happens from the electronic device into us, and that actually keeps our brain revved up. It keeps us thinking, not to mention whatever content that we're pouring into us, whether it's music or whether it's a TV show. whether it's looking at Vine videos, whatever it might be, whatever content we're looking at, we're pouring that into us and we are reacting to it. Whether we feel it or realize it, we're reacting. So an electronics detox can be a really great way to do that. I have friends that they have a beautiful lake home that they have chosen to share with me from time to time, and I will go down with them and there's no signal, and so I have to take a total electronics break for that weekend, and I'm thinking, oh God. But it did an amazing thing. Every time I do it, it does an amazing thing. So that for that 48 hours that I do not have electronics, first of all, I'm not totally, what's on my phone, what's on social media, I have to get work done, let me look this up and order this. Your brain is given a chance to just, kind of like when you do a physical detox. Your brain is allowed to just disconnect and relax. And that can be a really great way to reboot and begin the process of managing your stress better. Sleep. The ample amount of sleep is imperative. I mean, it is so important. And again, I did a revamping of my life and my lifestyle habits about a year ago. And I was getting maybe 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night, and it was not good sleep. Because what sleep does is it allows your brain, everything that you take in through the day, you kind of store here temporarily, and then your brain allows you to flip through your memories and your experiences for the day and discard things it doesn't need and store things that it does need. It allows your body to heal itself. It allows your immune system to take care of you. That's why when we're sick, we sleep, because that's what your body does, is it needs that time and that ability to recharge itself and heal itself. And if we're not getting the proper amount of sleep and good sleep, so that real deep REM sleep, the eye movement, it doesn't allow you don't allow your body to get what it needs to filter through the stressors that you are presenting to yourself throughout your day-to-day life. I also started a process of meditation, and I'm not a fanatic about it, but learning how to meditate, and for somebody that's a very high anxiety driven person, meditation is really tough because it makes you focus on one thing, and that's the fact that I'm focusing on nothing. And it's a challenge, but you'd be amazed at the way that it allows you to decrease your anxiety level. And there's a science behind it, and there's a reason why that it happens. And you can look that up and you can check that out on your own, and I can put those resources in stupid phone. I could put those resources in what I'm going to give you at the end of the video. But meditation is awesome. Yoga is awesome. You're allowed to reconnect with you and give yourself permission to take care of yourself. Social support. Social support is phenomenal when you are dealing with high stress, high anxiety. When I was in school, I would not have made it through without my support system. They were encouraging. They almost gave me permission to step away from schoolwork, step away from those obligations, and be able to have fun and interact and enjoy myself. Support systems are incredibly important, and if you don't have them, you've got to develop them, and you've got to nurture your relationships to have those. I kind of talked about, I think in the first 2 videos, being able to minimize 10 small stressors and maybe minimizing them down. So stressors like food prep. You can spend a little bit of time, 1 day a week, preparing your meals for the whole week. That way you're not coming in and having to cook an elaborate meal or go to the grocery store. That would be a really great way to condense a lot of little stressors down into just a couple. How your furniture is arranged. When you do laundry. Being proactive and going to fill up your gas tank rather than having to be rushed and do it in the morning on your way to work. There's a lot of things that you can do, and sometimes if you just write a journal about what does your day-to-day activities look like, and journal about what was your stress level, and remember we talked about, giving yourself a number, so 0 is no stress and 10 is really stressful, and giving yourself a number so that you can compare day to day what it looks like and figure out, well, this is what's really stressing me out. And so now you're empowered with that information, and you can begin to make some lifestyle changes that can be hugely impacting on minimizing a lot of little stressors into maybe 1 or 2 stressors, so that when those big things happen in your life, they're not so overwhelming and they're not so debilitating. Let's see. Volunteering is huge. If you're somebody that's high anxiety, high stress, volunteering is a really great way to minimize that. And I think that's probably why I enjoy social work, and that's probably why I enjoy doing therapy, is because I'm able to, in a sense, do some of the same things that I would do as a volunteer, but I'm able to make a living at it. So that's kind of a bonus. But being able to volunteer where you get absolutely nothing out of it except the fact that you know that you're doing this because you want to and because it's the right thing to do is incredibly empowering. Volunteering can be any number of things, Maybe you volunteer for people in your family. Maybe you volunteer for people in your neighborhood. Maybe you go to a shelter and you help walk dogs and help bring new animals into the shelter. Maybe you crochet hats and you give them to the newborns at the NICU. I mean, there's so many ways that you're able to volunteer, and there's even some websites, and let me make a note of that you can actually go in and fill out a couple of questions, and they will generate a list of places that are looking for volunteers. Really, really great way to take your focus off of what is going on in your world and focus it on something different. Stress goes from here down to here. It's an amazing impact. This one I struggle with, and I constantly work at it, but regular exercise. When the weather is nice outside and it's sunny and it's above 50, I like to walk. I will walk probably 4 times a week, sometimes 5 times a week. 30, 45 minutes. We've got a family dog. I'll walk him. 2 birds, 1 stone. But in the winter months, like now, where it's cold out, the sun is, few and far between before it comes out, I struggle. Oh my gosh, I struggle. So if that's something that, there's some people that they get that kind of like workout high, that runner's high that keeps them motivated. I have not experienced that. But exercise is very, very crucial in so many pieces of our well-being. And all I can say is figure out what works for your lifestyle. Maybe you take a 10-minute break 3 or 4 times a day and you run the stairs at work. Maybe you walk the dog instead of just letting the dog go out in the backyard. Lots of things you can do. There's googads of YouTube videos that go anywhere from a 10-minute high intensity workout to chair workouts if your knees or back are bad. I mean, there's really no excuse. I have no excuse except that I just don't want to do it. And I know when I have not been working out regularly, because then that impacts my sleep. And so they go hand in hand. So I kind of have to force myself to work out. I try to do it 3 times a week. Sometimes I'm successful, sometimes I'm not. But working out, exercise is really, really important. Eating healthy. Again, I had to revamp last year and remove processed food. I do community-based therapy, meaning that I go to my clients. And so I go to my clients, and a lot of my clients I give snacks and feed, because I work with a population of young people that they always don't get the food that they want or that they need. And so I feed them, and as I'm feeding them, I would feed myself. And McDonald's chocolate chip cookies and Sonic ice cream, and it got ridiculous. So I had to totally revamp, and I've cut out the majority of my dairy. I've cut out the majority of the gluten. It's not 100%. Alcohol is pretty minimal. But again, those are lifestyle changes, but they are huge. And remember, at the very beginning, I said make one positive choice, and maybe it's just you cut out soda. But that's going to be a domino effect to other choices. Those are all things that you have control over internally and also with your behavior choices. Maybe you find you've incorporated some of that stuff and you're still struggling with stress and anxiety. There are some natural remedies, and I am in no way implying that you should stop any medicine regimen that you have been put on by your psychiatrist or your primary care physician. These are just some things to consider if you're not taking medication, because you need to be careful with combining prescription medication with herbal remedies, because a lot of them conflict with each other and can cause you some serious health issues. So make sure you always check with your pharmacist, check with your doctor. But some things you can take after you've done your due diligence and your research are St. John's wort, valerian root. Megadoses of vitamin B can be a really quick boost, and it's natural without having to intake caffeine to deal with anxiety and stress, because caffeine is horrible for anxiety. It is horrible. Those are some natural things you can do. There's some aromatherapies, citrus, orange, chamomile tea. There's a lot of natural things out there, and I will post with this video those resources so that you can take a look for yourself. And as always, if you have questions, please post them to me in the comment section. You can email me. I am enjoying the interaction and some of the feedback I'm getting from everyone with the videos. I'm not doing them as frequently as I want, so I'm working on that, definitely. But that's management of stress in a nutshell. It is pretty simple in that you just have to make a choice that that's what you're going to do. And once you make that choice, there's a lot of available avenues to help you manage your stress. So I hope this 3-part series has been helpful for you. I don't know what I'm going to work on next. I've got a couple of requests, so I need to do some research and make sure I've got all my stuff in the line before I get those videos going. But I will post the resources with this. I hope that this has been helpful. Hope you have a phenomenal day. Please, questions in the comments or email me. I love to hear from you. Thoughts of a Social Worker on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and of course wendyhawkins.net. It's also got some great resources. So have a phenomenal day. Thank you for listening, and I really appreciate you. Take care.